Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Junkmaster3, and what do you know, it's final time for a new video, and I am actually in this video going to continue the 2000 series, which basically means where I basically go through each year in the 2000s and I rank my 10 favorite horror movies from each year during that decade. So this is going to be, this particular video is going to be for 2002, so there's lots of really great titles during this year alone, but these are the ones that I've come up with, which are my favorite ones. So I'm gonna work my way up to my absolute favorite one in this particular year. So yeah, let's begin right away. So at number 10 we have. I mean, some of these films, some people would say, well, is that really a horror movie? Isn't that more of a thriller movie? But I mean, I think they still have enough horror elements to them that you can still call them horror movies. So so at least, I mean, at number first, that's weird to say. At number 10, we have Dahmer. Simply called Dahmer is one of those serial killer films that came out in the early 2000s. And this one is pretty much self-explanatory. It's basically about the life of Jeffrey Dahmer and like his shenanigans and what was really going on through his life, or basically like that. And this one has Jeremy Renner in it as the main villain, or like main character. He portrays Dahmer basically, and this, I would say, is actually pretty much like the best one that came out around this time. There was another one with Ted Bundy, which was pretty good as well. And the 2 years prior to this one, they made a one called Ed Gein, which had Steve Rails back in it, which made it onto that list as well. But out of all of those films that came out in the early 2000s, which had serial killer themes to it, I think this is definitely one of the better ones. Yeah, if you haven't seen this one, or if you're a big fan of Jeremy Renner in general, go check this one out. This is really great, and it focuses both on his life and the crimes, so to say. So yeah, Dahmer at number 10. So let's see here. Then Then we have. How am I even gonna do this? There's so much garbage here. Uh, Here we go. Sorry for that. So I mean, next couple of films right here are gonna be some Asian stuff. So at number 9 we have the movie called Dark Water by Hideo Nakata. I believe is the guy who directed this one. He's probably most famous for directing the original Ring film, or Ringu, if you want to call it that. This one is very similar to that. It takes place like in this apartment building, whatnot, and great cinematography. Really like the atmosphere in this one is just really, really great, and I really like the acting in it as well. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it, but if you have seen the original Ring film, I would say it's pretty similar in tone to that, which I really enjoy that one in general. So yeah, if you do like the Ringu, and if you want to watch more films by the same director, you should definitely go check this one out. And I also have to double check and see if I actually say this right. Yeah, Hideo Nakata is the guy who directed this one. So yeah, Dark Water at number 9. This one apparently also got a remake, I believe. An American remake, which I haven't seen. But then again, I feel like most of the time when it comes to, especially those films that got remakes, like they were based on like Asian stuff, usually I think those really fail in general, those that I have seen. So yeah, that's the reason why I've kind of avoided some of these films. And the same thing can be said about this one. But this is a film by the Pang brothers, I believe. And this is the movie called The Eye. Once again, when I saw this for the very first time, this really scared the bejesus out of me. And yeah, great. I mean, the thing what I really like about some of these like early 2000s ghost films is that they didn't really rely everything on the jump scares alone. They actually have some sort of like great character development, and really, like a really nice build up to the whole like scary bits of whatnot. So so I really like that one as well. So sorry if I sound a little bit weird, but for some weird reason my asthma is just killing me right now. So, but anyway, this one also had a remake, which I haven't seen. I've heard some really terrible things about that one, so I decided not to watch it. So, yeah, if you like any of those other like haunting ghost type films from the early 2000s, go check this one out as well. This is one really good. So, The Eye. This one also have 2 sequels, which I've yet to watch actually. So, if you've seen any of those, please let me know if they are actually good or not. So, yeah. And then at number 7, we have the original. I mean, not necessarily the original one, because the very original story to this was actually like a two-part TV movie, you could say. So like Ju-on the Grudge and Ju-on the Grudge 2, which were like made for TV movies originally, and then came this film. So you have the original Ju-on the Grudge by Takashi Shimizu, who actually also directed the remake to this one, which I thought was quite interesting. But that's actually one of the very few exceptions that I have when it comes to like these remakes, that I actually do prefer the not prefer, but I do actually really enjoy the remake as well, even though I do prefer the original one. That's what I wanted to say. And yeah, I mean, I just feel like a broken record at this point. But once again, great atmosphere, great build up to the whole scary bits and whatnot. Obviously, I mean, this is not as scary as it was back in the day when I saw this for the first time, because I mean, let's come on, we've all seen scarier things than this one at this point. So, but nonetheless, this is a good film, and I know some people just don't really care for the whole like scary kid part with the like who's like completely like white in this entire face and whatnot. I mean, it's creepy. The sounds he's making is really creepy. That's what I really wanted to say. So, but Ju-on the Grudge is great. Don't confuse this one with the made-for-TV movies, which are actually pretty good as well. But this is actually the feature film, you could say, the original one, Ju-on the Grudge. I do really like the sequel to this one as well. I'm not sure if they made more movies after that. I think the Japanese ones probably stopped. I think there's like a Ju-on Black Ghost and White Ghost, whatever. I don't really know what that is all about, so I haven't seen those. But this one is really great. So yeah, Ju-on the Grudge at number 7. And then once again, this is another one of those scenarios. Is this more of a thriller than a horror film? I mean, the main story I would still say has like horror elements to it. So it's the movie called Red Dragon by what's his name? Is this by Brett Ratner? I didn't really realize that, but this is an amazing film. Mainly, really, because I mean, I do really like the storyline in this one, but I think what really helps this film is the amazing cast members in this one, which has Ralph Fiennes, Anthony Hopkins, and Edward Norton in it. I mean, that come on, that is just really cool. And I actually do prefer this one over Hannibal, actually, because I think it has better pacing. Even though this is pretty long, I still think this has better pacing to it, and I think the storyline is a little bit more interesting and more tense in this one. It feels like there's more things at stake, if you could call it that. So I think probably all people have already seen this about this point. But out of all of the Hannibal movies in general, my favorite one is the very first one they made. And then some of you might say, well, you mean Silence of the Lambs? No, I'm actually referring to the 80s one, which was just called, what's it called? Manhunter, I believe, from 86. Really, really enjoyed that film. I actually prefer that one out of all of the movies, but I actually really like all of them, all the films. I don't think there's a one that is like really terrible. Hannibal Rising is probably the weakest one, but still I really like that one as well. Mainly because of the main guy who portrays a young Hannibal in that one. But yeah, Red Dragon. If you have seen the previous ones, if you've seen like Manhunter, or if you've seen Silence of the Lambs, or if you've seen Hannibal and you haven't seen this one, go check this one out. This is really amazing, and I really like some of these older, like old school DVDs as well. If you can just look at the back right here, there's just so much special features, which you don't really see on DVDs nowadays at all, actually. So that's really a big shame in my personal opinion. But yeah, Red Dragon at number 6, yeah. Then this next film is, I mean, maybe more of an action-oriented horror film, but it still has vampires and stuff in it. So, so at number 5 we have Blade 2, which I would say is the best Blade movie out of them all. I mean, I know some people prefer the first one, but I think this one has aged much better than the first one, because the first one had some really, if I'm going to be honest, I think some of the CG in that film looks horrendous by today's standards, but I think this one really holds up. And once again, this is directed by Guillermo del Toro, which probably, he really knows how to make really great like makeup effects and whatnot, so like in his films. So I mean, maybe that's the reason why I really prefer this one over the first one. But better action, better acting, more interesting characters. I mean, the character development is better in my personal opinion in this one, and the villains are more memorable as well and really creepy. The first guy who's in the first film, Stephen Dorff, I believe, is the main bad guy in the first one. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that film. I don't really think I enjoyed him that much of a villain in the first one, while the villains in this one, I think they are much more interesting and has a more interesting storyline to them. So yeah, Blade 2, I mean, awesome film. Really, really like that one. And then at number 4, we have none other than a horror comedy, actually. The only horror comedy on this entire list, I believe. And it is Bubba Hotep with Bruce Campbell and Ossie Davies, I believe his name is. This is a ridiculous premise. It's basically about like Bruce Campbell plays like pretty much like we don't really know if he actually is Elvis or not. It's like a weird, really strange storyline, but it has a really nice blend of comedic things, and towards the very end, it just gets more and more serious. And the last scene of this film is just so sad, and so I mean, you didn't really expect that when you watch the first half of the film, because at first you're like, well, this is ridiculous and this is really stupid, but it has such a charm to it, and Bruce Campbell does an amazing job in this one. And I really like the score in this film as well. This really, really great. And this is directed by Don Coscolero, who's probably most famous for directing the Phantasm films, with the exception of Part 5, which I don't think he directed. But Bubba Hotep, I mean, if you're a big fan of Bruce Campbell or like horror comedies in general, go give this one a watch. It's really, really fun. And sad from time to time, so yeah. And let's see here. Then at number 3, we have. This is fun because this film is not even. I mean, this is not really like the entire series anymore, but Resident Evil, the quadrilogy. But of course, I'm referring to the first film. And obviously, this is not very close to the games at all. I mean, I've not played too many of those Resident Evil games in general, so I don't really know too much about the storyline, but. I think they were planning on making actually a new like Resident Evil series, which focuses more on the video game aspects of the storyline, you could say. But I mean, this is fun action horror. Like, I mean, I really like the vibe of, I mean, the blend of action and horror in some of these films that I've talked about, especially like this one and like Blade 2, for instance. So, and I would say out of all the Resident Evil films, I think the first 3 are actually pretty good. Then it really goes downhill when it comes to like Afterlife or whatever it was called. Really rely too much on the 3D aspects of things, which I just didn't care for at all. But yeah, this one is really fun, a really nice survival type horror film. I mean, that's usually one thing that I really appreciate in some of these early 2000s like horror movies in general, that they have really nice. You always have like these like when it comes to survival horror, you always have some people, like some characters that you really root for, and some people you just want to get killed off as soon as possible. So I really like that type of setup to some of these older like early 2000s like horror films, or like horror action films, if you could call it that. So but yeah, Resident Evil, the first one, I really enjoy for what it is. I mean, some of the things might have not aged very well, but I mean, I still think it's a really entertaining film. So yeah, the first Resident Evil film. And then at number 2, we have none other than 28 Days Later. And this is not a zombie film, for God's sakes. I've heard that so many times. Oh, it's a great zombie film. This is not a zombie film. It's an affection film, God damn it. With the whole rage virus thing. Yeah, just wanted to get that out there. But this one, I mean, great build up. The whole like atmosphere and the way it was shot, it really adds to the atmosphere. Some of the film really looks terrible. I mean, the way it was shot, but it was meant to look like that. And you really have this whole like post-apocalyptic feeling while you watch this film. And I quite recently rewatched this just before I was about to watch the 28 Years Later, like last year. So I rewatched this one and 28 Weeks Later. And I was very disappointed on 28 Years Later, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it was just like, well, I did expect a little bit better, especially since we had to wait such a long time for any type of sequel or like follow up to the other ones, even though, I mean, they're kind of like standalone sequels to begin with. But this one, I mean, is the best out of them all. You don't really need to say anyone else. I mean, 28 Weeks Later is still a good film, but I mean, it's very tame in comparison to this one, in my personal opinion. And there's like that helicopter sequence in 28 Weeks Later looks really horrendous at this point. If you've seen the movie, you get what I mean. And I think the character development is the best in this one as well. You don't really care for these characters. So, yeah, if you haven't seen this one, go give it a watch. And don't really know what to think about it, because I think they're actually making a sequel to 28 Years Later, which is just going to be called 28 Years Later Skull Temple or something, which is just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, it does make sense if you have watched 28 Years Later, but I have very low expectations for that film, so yeah, whatever. But 28 Days Later, nonetheless, is an amazing film, and it landed on the number 2 spot on this list. And what could possibly be at number 1? I mean, for those some of you that have watched my channel for a while, you probably have already figured out which movie I'm placing on number 1. And this is actually, I think, one of the very first DVDs I ever ordered online, actually. And it's the movie called Dog Soldiers by Neil Marshall. One of the best werewolf movies of all time. I stand by that to 100%. This one is definitely up there with An American Werewolf in London, the original Wolfman, The Howling, all of those amazing films. Ginger Snaps as well was another movie that I really enjoyed as well. Silver Bullet comes to mind. But this one, the reason why I like this one, once again, you have the whole survival aspect to the film when these military guys, they're pretty much stuck in this cabin in the middle of absolute nowhere, in this deep within the woods. And you have all of these werewolves that are like surrounding this building. They can't escape, and the way the werewolf looks, I mean, they're basically like people in like these really large suits and whatnot. That sounds a little bit silly if you just think about it like that, but the way it was made, and like the whole costume and the whole like makeup effects and all of that, I mean, it looks amazing. Great action sequences as well, and you really root for the main characters in this one. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it, because I mean, I think it's a great film. And I know some people say that The Descent is, I think The Descent is considered to be Neil Marshall's best movie, but I think Dog Soldiers is definitely my personal favorite of his. Yeah, if you haven't seen this one, and if you're a big fan of werewolf films, you're really missing out, because this is an amazing and really entertaining movie nonetheless. So yeah, Dog Soldiers are number 1. So there you have it. That's my top 10 favorite horror movies from the year 2002. I'm gonna try to prioritize the next video to be top 10 of 2003 as well. Really terribly sorry about my stupid asthma, because sometimes that really kills me when I'm, especially for some weird reason, I always get these weird things when I make my videos. But anyway, if you did like this one, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment or two. Have you seen any of these movies before? Or did I miss out on any movie from this year that you would say, well, this one should have been on the list? Please let me know about that as well, because it could be a movie that I haven't seen before that I'm going to be a really big fan of. So I'm always curious to watch other like new stuff that I haven't seen before. So, but anyway, if you also would like to follow me on YouTube, or like not miss out on any new videos, you could also consider to subscribe to my channel if you want to. Yeah, anyway, that's going to be the end for this particular video, and keep your eyes open for the next one, and see you next time. Bye bye.